How good is that?
I never could have written that.
So right now we're just getting advice from our third business partner, which is ChatGPT. So we've got me and Jai, and then the ChatGPT probably owns about 30% of our business now, just about all the decisions it's made in the last 6 months.
Let me just
I'd like to welcome everyone. This is something both Jai and myself have been wanting to do for a very long time, is film, everything we're doing behind the scenes with our business, because we feel like there's so many things so many moving parts that are happening, especially right now, and no one really knows what's going on. So we want to showcase our story even more. And we're super pumped. We're super pumped for what the next few months is going to be, especially with onboarding all this new content. So yeah, we're super excited.
Yeah, I think today we're just going to focus on introducing what we're going to do, and even introducing the man behind the camera, his name's Lockie, and he's going to be around with us for a very long time, and he's going to be right alongside us filming everything that we do. I think it's going to be an exciting time moving forward, because everyone's going to get to see behind the scenes of what actually goes on. We're not just cutting hair, whether we're fighting or
we don't
negotiating or training. I just think coming along for the ride is going to be really, really good for everyone.
Just to give you guys a little bit of a backstory about who we are. So my name's Samuel Raphael, I'm 27.
I'm Jai Ranagopal, I'm 28.
So both Jai and myself, we've known each other since we were about 11 years old. So I actually first met him when we were playing footy together. So I've known Jai for about, what would it be, for 16?
Yeah, 15, 16
years. We were both introduced to it through a barber who was actually working in this suburb of DY. And
still does.
Yeah, he still does. Seeing how respected this guy was. His name's Gabriel, by the way, so shout out to you, Gabs. How he would make people feel. I was definitely drawn to that from a young age, and me even at 12 years old. I used to love getting my haircut.
Just going into the shop,
Yeah, twice. I used to get every 2 weeks getting a haircut, and especially at a young age. So by the time I think I was 15 years old, I was really intrigued by what Gabriel was doing, and I bought a pair of clippers and I started just cutting my friends and family at home, and it just went from there.
That's exactly what happened to me. But the thing is there's two pretty prominent schools in this area, and I went to one, it's Cromer High, and Sam went to Balgala Boys. I was known as sort of the barber of that school, and I would cut all the boys in that school at home, and same for Sam at Balgala Boys. And then when I left school, I went and I started my hairdressing, and I also was working Wednesdays and Saturdays with Gab. And then eventually he didn't have a spot for me, so I went down to another shop that was called the Groomsman, and that was at Warringah Mall. And after 6 months of working there, Sam hit me up and he said, he's finished school now, so is there a place for him? So I spoke to the boss, and then Sam came on board, and that we've worked together ever since, and that was in 2013 or 2014. Yeah. So it's been quite some time now. It's May 2023 now, and we started in, so I got back from a trip in Asia in about October in 2018, and I knew that the next step for me was to open a shop. So I came back from my trip. I started looking at places where I could open a shop. I grew up in this area in DY, so I always knew that I wanted a shop in DY. Sam was still working at that other business. He eventually figured out that I wasn't in the shop as much, I was doing something, and he gave me a call and he said, what are you doing? And I just told him, look, you're doing your thing, I'm doing my thing. Anyway, a couple of weeks went by, that conversation didn't eventuate, and he called me again. We sat down for coffee, and I said to him, look, I don't want to be the person to tell you what to do or anything. He says, I want to do whatever you're doing, can I come in? So I said, are you 100% sure? He said, yes. I said, I'm not making you do this. He said, I know. We shook hands, and I laid everything out in front of him. And I already had the plan of Sonder and all these things, even like the green wall. When I was traveling, I got that idea from a place I saw in Vietnam. I had a couple of locations that I was looking at. I laid it out. Sam said, I love it. I remember the handshake. I dropped him at home and I said, are we doing this? He said, yep. Shook his hand, and then from that moment on, I knew that we were in it together. We went 50-50 partners, and it's the best decision both of us ever made.
It's the biggest handshake, or most important handshake I've ever made in my life.
Yeah,
and it was such a surreal moment.
So when we opened up DY, it was a bit hard when we first started. We weren't as busy as we thought we were initially going to be. We knew where we wanted to go. We wanted to be an appointment-based barbershop. We wanted to have our own product line.
We wanted to deliver a higher service, and I feel like the direction we wanted to go was be more of a premium brand.
We wanted 100%. To find that balance between being a salon and a barbershop. We wanted to keep that raw, fun, community energy that is in a barbershop, but we wanted to have the luxuries of like a high-end salon, appointment based, drink on arrival. You get the required amount of time. You're not getting rushed out of the chair. Everyone's getting a proper service, a proper consultation. It was a process to get there. So that was year one, and it was literally just Sam and I.
Yeah.
And then after about 3 or 4 months, we hired Ron and Chris, and it was quite a big decision for us because we hired an apprentice and a full-timer. Ron was a hairdresser, so we needed quite a bit of training in the barbering stuff. He was very good at his scissor work, but he needed some help on the beards and
The lineups, the fades,
all the stuff that we were good at.
Yeah.
So we were confident that we could teach him. You know, I was very stressed in that time, but it was, once again, a great decision. You know, Ron and Chris are still with us today, and that was almost 4 years ago, and they've been 2 of our best staff. After that, we hired a young man by the name of Josh. He came at the end of 2019, I think it was. Then COVID hit. No one knew what the hell was going on. So at this point we had 5 staff. We used to work with a guy, his name's Carl. Went for a meeting with him and we said, you know, why don't you come on board with us? Because we've always wanted to have a shop in Mona Vale, and we knew that it would be a good opportunity for him to make a step forward in his career. He came on board in about June of 2020, and that was scary as well because it was mid-COVID. Then from then on, we worked towards our next shop, and Carl was going to be a partner in that next shop. So February of the next year, we opened the next shop. So that was February 2021. We opened in Mona Vale.
In the midst of COVID.
In the midst of COVID, and that's our second location. 4 months later, we get locked down for 4 months. We hired a few staff in between there. We had 5 in DY. We had myself and Carl and Tony in Mona Vale, and we get locked down. Then we come back from the lockdown. I think the boys felt pretty refreshed because that 4 months, the best weather I've ever experienced. We were literally just having coffee at the beach every day.
I remember saying to the boys, enjoy this time because you're never going to get this kind of break ever again.
Filmed our online education. It was great for Sam and I actually because
we were able to use that time and dedicate it to just filming, and that's what Jai was mainly leading and pushing, was getting the content out for that.
The uniforms, the merch, everything was done inside that lockdown period. Even our product brand was organised in there. And I think being confident in our ability and in our brand and in our staff has allowed us to grow at the rate that we have.
For especially Jai and myself, our long-term vision and where we want to head this brand is we want to be the biggest men's grooming company in Australia. It's not about Jai and myself gaining success financially, personally. We're trying to build something really special, and I think because we've made those decisions over time and again, it's allowed us to do the product line, do the merch, open more salons. We're trying to build something over a 20-year period. We're not trying to create as much wealth short term and then
get out.
That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to
sit on a beach in Jamaica.
Yeah. You know what? That would be nice though.
You can only sip cocktails for so long.
Yeah, but saying that, like I think for us, it's always been about the bigger picture.
We got to Mona Vale, and we hired the staff. We came back from lockdown. We had the merch, we had the online education, we had all these things. The next step was pretty much hiring a few more staff. So we hired some key people. Those people are Lorenzo, Levi, and Jamison. So they were all quite junior when they started with us. We've got 3 guys that love the brand. They want to be the best, and that where they've grown in the last 16 months is insane.
For us, we want these guys to be a part of our team long term, and we're going to actually give them the opportunity that they deserve and get them to where they want to get to in their careers and with their lives. So
this will take us through 2022 with those new staff starting in the start of 2022. Then we move forward, and one day I had a day off, so I just thought I'd go for a drive. Started just randomly calling real estate agents that I found properties that I like. We didn't have the staff to open a new shop. We didn't have the means. We weren't really ready, but I just always eyes open, ears open, ready for any opportunity. And I call Sam, I say, man, I've just called all these real estate agents and this guy's just told me that he has the perfect shop for us. So what happened is I called this real estate agent about one in Chatswood, and he said, what shop do you have? And I said, I have a barber shop. Sent him my website. Within about 30 seconds, he called me back and he said, holy shit, you guys are the exact people that we want in this location. I have the perfect shop for you guys. I walked down to this shop, I opened the door, and I went, holy shit, this is the shop. I was actually with Carl at this point, and I looked at him and I go, this is the shop.
Yeah.
And now there's a shop in Chatswood Interchange,
which is just up from the actual train station. So making this next step outside the Northern Beaches was probably one of the biggest moves we had to make.
Scariest. Then we have this guy from Manchester walk through the doors in DY. we need barbers, right? Anyway, this guy literally walks in and says he wants a job. It's never happened to us, and it just happened right before Chatswood. And he's been instrumental in the success of Chatswood, and his name's Reese.
Yeah.
And he's now the manager of that store, and he's taken that store to new heights. So we opened in, I think, late August 2022.
Yeah.
And then we knew Sam's trip was coming up. So we need staff. So my idea was I've got to go to the UK and get these staff. And now we've done that 3 times, and their names Lachlan, Connor and Ryan. They've just slotted into our culture so well, and I can see how much they're enjoying their time here. You know, their days off, they're down the beach, they're going on the run club with us at 5 a.m. and they're training harder than they ever have. So that brings us to now, which is, like I said, May 2023. We're currently looking at our next location. We're also just hired, like I said before, Lockie. So he's going to be our full-time content creator. We're about to get a warehouse, which is very exciting for Sam and I, because at the moment we work in places like this.
Or my one-bedroom unit, which is tiny.
Yeah. It's going to be a content creation studio. It's going to be a warehouse for our product line.
Yep.
And anyone else who joins the team in the future, and also a podcast studio where we can start to, you know, get some interesting people in. We've got to.
Well, think as us as barbers, like how many people do we cut? Like there's so many interesting characters, especially coming to all 3 of our salons, who have actually quite, like, some successful in business.
Well, you know,
some
what
just
we
everyday
actually
people.
haven't explained is, what does Sonder actually mean? Sonder is the realization that each and every person has a reality that's as complex as yours. So essentially, when you tie that back to barbering, all of those interesting people that come in, every single person has something new to tell, some story to tell. What is their day-to-day like? And we have to respect that, getting people in, talking to them about what's actually going on, and not just seeing people as just another person.
Yeah.
That's why our brand name is Sonder.
He had the name Sonder, he had the green wall. And it's like every single idea that he had, I was in love with. What we wanted to do was build a brand. It wasn't to build Sam Jai's barbershop in the local corner of DY. It's to make this name Sonder, this brand Sonder, so much bigger than us. When we first started, we started a business based off our reputation in this area of the Northern Beaches. And we two were both the probably most dominant barbers and the most...
So why not put pedal to the metal and just give it a go?
The worst case scenario is me and Jai are still next to each other.
The worst place is we go back to my garage where we were before.
Yeah, drinking Peronis every day and cutting hair. Yeah. DY was that one suburb which was like more on like the lower end of the Northern Beaches, because it was just all apartments. It was all real old. Like, it's such a dense suburb. But now, like, with all the new development that they've done over the last, I say 4 or 5 years, because even like when we first came into our salon, which we're about to show you,
was still sort of being built.
Yeah. So we actually, when we opened the salon, actually came at such a good time, because all this new development was happening in DY as well.
I think we knew that though.
Yeah.
We sort of knew that we wanted to be a part of that change, and we knew that it was coming, and we could see the growth. And since we both grew up here, we both knew how densely populated it was, and we knew that there was no barbershop in DY.
DY had nothing.
It had nothing.
Yeah.
So this is pretty much been the main thing that's changed DY, is the Meritons. Changed the whole feel of the place. Like, you can see the sun's shining and everyone's sitting having coffee. It's nice.
I love DY because there's a lot of character in DY, and there's a lot of different backgrounds. And you got a lot of, you know, Tibetans, you know, Pacific Islanders, Serbians, you know, Italians. You know, it's more of a diverse area, and I think that's what I love the most about it as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you our flagship salon, probably our strongest performing salon to date. Yeah,
for sure.
We got a really good team in there, and we'll show you a bit inside.
So the building that we're in is just across the road, and that building was an abandoned building when we grew up. So there was 2 developments going on at the same time, and they've both been instrumental in the changing of this whole bus stop area, because it was pretty derelict before that. So we're going to go inside. We're going to check it out. This is like we said, this is our flagship store. DY opened March 2019. We're going to go see what the boys are doing. They should have some customers in the chair, and we'll go introduce them. So we've got Lorenzo. This is the guy we were talking about. He started about 16 months ago. He started alongside Levi. Levi had already been cutting hair before he came to us, but Lorenzo was fresh. And then we got Ronnie. He was our first hire. So he's the manager of this store, and he takes care of the boys and makes sure they're all in line. And
if they're messing up, you know, he gives them a Muay Thai kick to the leg.
Really? But yeah, this is the green wall. So this was something that was an idea, like I said, that I found in Vietnam in a store, and I really, really liked it. The one that I saw in Vietnam was actually alive. I wanted to do it in here, but just the drainage and everything, it didn't make sense, and I found the artificial, and it works so much better, you know, there's no maintenance, and it honestly looks great.
I think for us, how having like a focal point to the shop that was so eye-catching, that when people were walking past, even driving past or going on the bus, it was actually quite welcoming for them to say, what the hell is this place? You know,
well, I also think like we wanted to do that minimal industrial salon, but we still wanted to have a bit of character. Yeah. We didn't want to have like this all white room, because we just felt like it was a bit bland, a bit surgical. So just by allowing us to keep that minimal aesthetic, but then just whack this big eye-catching green wall in, it really complements the plainness of everything else. It makes everything else stand out.
Yeah, 100%.
So this is our staple. We will do this in every single salon that we do, and this pretty much represents our brand.